It is 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about Liv Morgan potentially being heckled at the Knicks game. We're also talking about MJF tossing a tequila on a kid fan. And what's the deal with FTR? Hello, everyone in the chat. I'm here. I'm sipping on some coffee. Yes, nice warm coffee because it is still very cold outside. And we're talking about wrestling. Welcome to the All About Wrestling podcast. And I did want to tap into the contenders to see what you guys are thinking about the current wrestling news. All right. Hey, Ellie. Hey, Mick. Folks, Liv Morgan, video surfaced of her. She's at the Knicks game. And if it's one thing I've learned in life, it's that communication is mainly nonverbal. Your body language speaks volumes. So you can have your own perception of what happened. I have mine. The video surfaced, and of course, the trolls are taking to social media and dissecting and analyzing this video. So much so that even Liv Morgan had to go on Twitter and say, you guys, she's laughing about it. But what do you think happened? I do have the video. Let's show the video. I do want to break this down. Music, and this guy is just like, blah, 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 blah. What do you think the conversation was about, first of all? First, it wasn't even a conversation. It was a one-sided transmission of language to someone that clearly did not have any interest in participating. But, of course, we dive deep into the current trending topics regarding pro wrestling, and this is one of them. I thought it was pretty interesting, right? There's been reports that, somebody said that this gentleman is some type of security that works at WWE. I don't know. Do you guys know? I've never seen this guy in my life. But he seems very, very adamant about speaking on whatever topic he's speaking on. Hey, Mick. Mick is here. Mick says, I'm here. Where's my girlfriend? Mi amor is not here. I'm sorry. I apologize. She's not here at the moment. But what are your thoughts, Mick? What say you? What do you think this conversation was involving Liv Morgan and this individual at the Knicks game? She's trying to watch the game. So we're going to talk about that. Also, my question to you guys is where is the line drawn? Where's the line drawn? There's been several incidents throughout time in pro wrestling where either the wrestler crosses the line and gets involved with fans in ways they shouldn't, or the fan gets involved with wrestlers. I can recall one incident that happened not too long ago in which Nia Jax, she was, and you guys might remember this, she was carrying Alexa Bliss on her shoulder, and she's walking back to the ramp, and before she could even make it to the ramp, a kid reaches over and smacks Alexa Bliss on the rear end. I thought it was funny. Ellie Underdown says, I'm not sure kids should be in front. Grandma Daisy, hello, welcome back. I'm not sure kids should be in the front row of AEW, to be honest. We'll talk about that. But clearly, there's an issue here. Where is the line drawn? Grandma Daisy says MJF equals out of control. That's one perspective. A lot of people think that, this was great. This was great for business. All right. I did do a poll, so we're gonna show that in shortly. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna dissect this. I do want to know deeply where you guys stand, and let's dive deep. I want to look at this from all angles, being objective, right? Because at some point in time, we were all fans at a wrestling event, a live wrestling event, and things may have gotten out of hand. Me, myself, I remember going to AEW when they had their 1-year anniversary in Philadelphia with Ray Raw. And you can see this a few episodes back if you check our intro video where I'm in the crowd. And it's the video where John Moxley's fighting, and he's coming out and he's mixing it up. And it's so close. I have my camera right there. It's so close to the point where I'm holding my camera. But I specifically remember before they even got that close, they were coming behind us, and we turned around, and I had my camera, and I couldn't see, so I had to hold my camera up high. And the person next to me, he lost his mind. He was on the chair. He was bumping me. He pushed me. My phone flipped down, and I had to take a moment. At that time, I had to take a moment. I had to say, wait. Let me get my bearings right, okay? Because one, I have to understand that this is the culture. Being in a crowd, a live wrestling event, you got fans from all over, different ages, different ethnic backgrounds, from different geographic locations, right? And everyone's here to have a good time. And I realized he didn't even know what happened, and he was happy. And that's just fan versus fan. But when you have wrestlers against fans and fans against wrestlers, where do we draw the line? That is the question. Before we talk about that, I do want to draw your attention to the scrolling text. All right, folks, if you go on Instagram, I would like for you to enter your responses, because we want to know, we want to have this information. You go to our Instagram account, and I'll put the Instagram scroller up. That is our Instagram handle. If you click on sign up, we're asking you, 1, who's your favorite wrestler? 2, what t-shirt size do you wear? All right. So if you're interested, please input that information, and I guarantee you that information, you giving it to us, will benefit you in the future. All right. And there it is right there on the screen. Let us know your favorite wrestler and your t-shirt size on our IG profile by clicking sign up. Mick Thompson, UFC, they do that. Okay, we're talking about wrestling here. Folks, where do we draw the line? And we have to remember, like, AEW is not in PG format, right? You know, we can go and say, who's at fault? Let's Monday morning quarterback this and say, all right, this is not a PG product, right? We see blood, we see sexual references, we see swearing on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis, right? Question is, should that kid have been there? That's another question. You know, when we bring a kid to these non-PG events, you know, should they be in that element? Are we making a statement by bringing an underage fan to an event that's clearly geared towards an older audience? Or are we accepting that, you know what, things might happen? You know, my kid might get a tequila tossed in his face. I don't know. So the incident happened Sunday, the Chase Center in San Francisco at AEW Revolution. I saw that whole event. By the way, the match was amazing. So much so that we took to Instagram and we stated how great MJF really is. He lives up to the name. But MJF, professionally, that's questionable. Let's go to the poll. We asked you guys on Instagram. We asked you guys thoughts about MJF tossing tequila in a kid's face. 50% said he crossed the line. 30% said great entertainment. I thought it was great entertainment. It's never happened before, at least in my knowledge, at least in my experiences. I've never saw a main event headliner in the crowd snatch a drink from a parent and throw it in their kid's face. 20% said it's best for business. So, I mean, it's something to think about. Of course, the majority said he crossed the line, and that's according to our poll. Does not represent the entire population, folks. We only have a little bit over 12,000 followers on Instagram. Ellie under down. I'd like to go with what you're saying. Let's read it. Do you think anyone would defend MJF if it happened in a real sport? Now we're talking. Now we're talking. And Mick Thompson, this is where I go to your comment, where you said UFC, they do that. Yes. Perhaps someone would defend MJF. Perhaps not. But me, in my opinion, I think he will get defended. We're talking about a real sport. It depends on the sport. I mean, we're talking, let's say basketball. If a basketball player walked up to the front row, and that's just absurd. I mean, it's out of place. But contact sports, I think that's where you're going. If this happened in UFC, a kid shouldn't be there. No way. Kids should not be sitting there watching professional athletes destroy each other in a physical manner, right? So I think wrestling does make this situation more intense, because we all know kayfabe and all of that stuff. I'm not going to get too much into that because I respect the sport so much. But very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. So the majority thinks that, he crossed the line. I guess Grandma Daisy, I think you think he crossed the line. I thought it was brilliant, whether or not he crossed the line. I thought it was brilliant because MJF, I view him as a wrestler that he's one of those wrestlers, almost like Ric Flair, where they live their character 24/7. Now, if that's really his personality, it won't take too much of a toll on him, because that takes a lot. But if that's truly him, it doesn't, because that's just him naturally being him, right? But if he is not like that, then that's something different. Ellie under down. I like boxing, but when I see kids in the front row, I think, who takes their kid to see an event where they might see someone beat to death from 4 feet away? I agree with you. And this happens all the time. We see kids everywhere. Why is that kid here? You can be in a meeting and you hear kids just break out crying in the back room. Why is that kid here? Well, it's because the parent just couldn't resist being there. Probably didn't have a babysitter. And you know how that goes. So it's just one of those things. And the parent just stood there, and I felt... Oh, man, the parent stood there in disbelief, in shock. She was paralyzed, in shock at what she's seeing. And you can tell that the parent knew that, all right, this is MJF, because she turned and she looked at the kid, and in my mind, I'm thinking, she's saying, in her head, she's saying, is he all right? Is it going to be a problem? These tickets cost a lot of money. Is this going to get us some backstage passes? Now, they did get to go backstage. They got some kind of foam finger, from what I understand. They met this is hilarious, folks. It is. I'm not hiding it. I'm having a ball with this topic because it's funny to me. It is funny to me. They met Hobbs. There's a picture of the kid and Hobbs at the top of the ramp. Do I think it was an act, Grandma Daisy? If it was brilliant. It was brilliant because, you know why? Because on a Wednesday at 1:15, We are sitting here talking about it, right? It was brilliant. If that was an act, we need more wrestling like that. We do, because we need incidents like this to make everybody wonder and everybody talk and everybody have these discussions. It was very interesting. Mick Thompson, have you heard what happened last night? Roxanne Perez passed out. I think that was a work. Have you guys seen it? Have you guys seen it? I'll tell you why I think it was a work. Only reason I think it was a work was because the camera was fixated on Roxy, her position, on the medical assistants, and it was just fixated there. And to my knowledge, in my experience, you don't film that. You pan the camera away. You might go ringside to the commentary and have them, discuss, this is a terrible tragedy. This is what's going on in the ring. Folks, make sure you watch our next event, yada, yada, yada. But I think it was a work. I could be wrong, but it's my experience, it's a work. So much so that they made it even more realistic when Booker T got up from behind the announce table and goes in the ring and takes a knee beside her. Right? I do want to go to Instagram real quick. We're going to start posting sections where you can go in and list a topic that you want us to touch on. And we have one from Akash SP76, who's a longtime Instagram follower. He asked the question, is Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks WWE bound? Interesting question. In my opinion, I do not think that Kenny Omega is. I do understand that he got some more time tacked onto his contract for being out 8 or 9 months. That's the latest information I have. I also think that it won't be beneficial to Kenny Omega. Remember, I believe in 2019, Kenny Omega was offered an opportunity in WWE and he turned it down. He turned it down because he wouldn't have the time away from the ring. He wouldn't have creative freedom, which is very important to him. Remember, when you go to WWE, they put their stamp on you. They can say, you're not going to be called Kenny Omega anymore. You're going to be called Johnny Omega. And this is just an example. But I don't think so. Unless you guys think differently in the chat, guys. I really don't think so. Grandma Daisy, I have something special for you. And courtesy of you, we do have our Doink the Clown episode coming up on the 26th, in which I'm going to be a man of my word. I lost a bet against Mia Moore, and I'm going to be appearing as Doink the Clown, courtesy of Grandma Daisy. All right? So that's where we're going to go on the 26th. Hope you guys are ready for that. Fandito is here. Did she make a new meme? Fandito says, Liv Morgan made a new meme. Did she? And Fandito's thoughts on MJF. MJF wasn't out of control. A true heel does that shit. Fans have just become too sensitive. Are we too sensitive, guys? Back in my day, if I was there and I'm snitching on myself, my age. If Sergeant Slaughter grabbed somebody's drink and threw it in my face, I'd be like, yeah, throw another one on my face. You know what I mean? Like, it's a drink, right? And that's just my opinion. And if I appear to be insensitive, so what? So what? Those are my thoughts. But are we becoming too sensitive? Clearly, all right, the good thing is that no one was hurt, right? No one was hurt. And The kid wasn't touched by the wrestler, at least directly. Indirectly, yes, via the liquid from the drink, a tequila, by the way. So again, I think it was brilliant. Now, that's something that I would do. If I own my own wrestling promotion, I would have no problem with doing that. I would have no problem. Of course, me being the genius that I am, I would have everybody sign disclaimers and waivers coming into that building. That's just me, because you got to protect the brand, right? And of course, I don't see anyone getting sued because somebody threw a drink in somebody's face. But yeah, I mean, perhaps we are becoming really, really sensitive. A lot of fans anymore have. Kids always flipping out. Autograph signings. Yeah. Mick Thompson says he can't wait to see. Are you talking about the Dunk the Clown episode? I'm not excited about it, but if you guys are excited about it, then I'm starting to get excited about it. Eliander down. If he had thrown it in a grown-up's face, I genuinely would not be bothered. See, that's the thing. Folks, we have to know our triggers. Some things we feel certain ways about, and that's completely fine. But then we have to ask the other question. Should that kid have been there? Should he have been there in the front row during an MJF match? Now, Bryan Danielson, of course, I don't see him doing that. I can see him flipping over and kicking a kid in the head by accident just because of the nature of his wrestling style. Do you think she's going to sue? Do you think she's going to sue? Hopefully she doesn't. Hopefully she doesn't. So let's go back to that video with Liv Morgan. And guys, I want you guys to tell us. Let's play a game. Let's play a game, all right? What's going on in this video? I tried to read the person's lips. I tried to break down what the gentleman was saying in the video, but I couldn't. Perhaps you can. You tell me. So, what's going on? I mean, clearly she appears, and this is just from what I get off from it, she appears to not want to be bothered. She has no interest in what this guy's saying. Do any of you know the guy? Have you identified him as a WWE employee? I'm just guessing. Fandito says, I guess his name's Justin, because Sonya said, we still love you, Justin. So apparently they do know each other. Am I right? Can anyone confirm that? Can you confirm that? Justin. Maybe we can get Justin on the show. That'd be cool. I'm actually looking on Twitter right now. Let's see if we can anyone find Justin's handle? Do we know this guy? Okay, here it is. Wow, it's all over. It's all over Twitter right now. We're on Twitter too as well, guys. AAW Podcasters. All right, so it doesn't show. This one doesn't show him. It's showing her accepting a jersey on the floor. Let's see if by next episode we can track down who this guy is. That's our homework, guys. Our homework is to find out and identify who Justin is. Who is Justin? Who is Justin? In fact, I'm going to go as far as to create a campaign on Instagram. Who is Justin? Somebody give me Justin's name. Let's find him. Ellie says, no disclaimer will cover an injured spectator who gets hurt sitting in a spectator's area. A waiver would. Oh, Fandito put Superfly Johnny now. He put his handle up. If you don't know, guys, Fandito and Superfly Johnny have a feud going on. And make sure you check out the Nice Guy Andy podcast. It's all over there. They come on tonight. What time are you coming on tonight, Fandito? I think 8 p.m. Mick, you want to come on the show? We'll put you on the show. Ellie, Grandma Daisy, y'all can come on the show. Let's do it. Moxley. I just saw a post about John Moxley where it talks about yeah, Ellie, are you referring to that meme about the guy yeah. He's talking about John Moxley, he's bleeding over everything at mud shows? Yes, I saw that. Tonight, guys, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Nice Guy Andy podcast on all streams, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Twitch. They got Omega Day tonight, a fierce wrestler. Okay, they're going to have a wrestler on tonight. Make sure you check them out. I have a screen here. Folks. All right, so our newest thing. All right, let me show you this. Guys. So we used to do, all right, we do these for topics, right? For topics and information, these showrunners, these banners that we put up, right? Now, if you guys think that you're going to be a regular caller in the future, we're going to create a graphic, and these things change all the time. I know you guys see like different formats and stuff like that. The reason that this showrunners is canted to the side like that is so that we don't block your comments. Example there. All right. Omega the Pitbull is going to be on tonight. Grandma Daisy, thank you. Grandma Daisy just subscribed to Fandito's podcast, the Nice Guy Andy podcast. I'll check him out as well. We're going to the gym later. We're going to try to make that. AEW comes on tonight as well. But yeah. So now the comments aren't blocked, right? Then you have the topics over here. And for you guys that are going to do some call-ins, if you think you're going to do some call-ins in the future, we want to get like a little small, your best photo, and we're going to create a template where you call in, your headshot pops up with your name and your handle, like whether it be Instagram, social media, because we want to draw traffic to your brands and your platforms as well. If that's the case, and Fandito, I got the picture you sent me. Of course, you're gonna go on our moderator spotlight on our webpage, folks. We do have a website, allaboutwrestling.net. If you didn't know, and then we're gonna display that when you call. We're gonna display your image, and we want to drive traffic to your platforms as well. All right, Grandma Daisy, we missed you. We're glad to have you back. I do want to talk about FTR as well. Folks, FTR, they asked the question, FTR, do you see them in AEW long term? So apparently, FTR, they're saying that the tease of them going to WWE was all a work. What do you guys think? They came back at Revolution. It did take some time off. A lot of people believe they got a lot of slack because they are strong CM Punk supporters, right? They're loyal. They're not jumping ship. They're not turning sides. They believe what they believe. and they're not going to change based on, the opinions of the masses. Originally, their contracts were supposed to expire in April. Some people believe that, they extended their contracts. And this is from Mike Johnson, PW Insider. He claims that there's the possibility of long-term deals that are inked already, and that the teases from jumping ship to another company, possibly WWE, was a part of the storyline. Folks, do we have to go that deep in storylines? I don't think so. I mean, what was the point? What was the point? You don't have to. You're FTR, arguably one of the greatest tag teams in the world, in my opinion. Ellie Underdown subscribed. Nice Guy Indie Podcast. Thanks, Ellie. She was already subscribed. So, guys, what are we talking about this week? We might do our show Saturday. We're going to check the analytics to see when most of the viewers are on, what time works best. What are we talking about? You guys care to share? What you guys want to talk about? Of course, Meow More will be back. It's going to be after 4, guys. Maybe 5, 6, 7, something like that. But yeah. What are we talking about? All right. Let me see. Did I cover everything? So the majority of us, we believe that MJF drew the line. Am I correct? Or no? I think he's on the line. It's very close. I'm very hypercritical when it comes to these things, these topics. Ellie Underdown. This is my 30th WrestleMania since I became a fan. In ring, I low-key think this may be the best. So you think this WrestleMania may be the best of all time? That's a bold statement. Is that what you're saying? Because this is your 30th. You've seen some great ones. You've seen some really great ones. Mick says, hey, honey. Me, hey, honey. I will say, hey, I will see you soon, my girlfriend. He's talking about Meow More. Ellie Underdown, maybe. Yeah. Don't say maybe. Let's not walk this back. Have some conviction. You think this may be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. We've seen some great ones. And I respect your boldness. Yes. And why? Why would you say that? Anybody else? How do you feel about this card? Anybody want to call in and explain why this may potentially be the greatest WrestleMania of all time? If I had to guess, I'd say the main event is the implications of the Rhodes legacy finally being able to possess arguably one of the greatest wrestling championships that exist. I think that energy is different. It's different. It's an energy that we haven't seen before because there's so much riding on this. Now, let's say he loses, which I doubt. But WWE needs to create an atmosphere where we don't know what's going to happen, right? I'm pretty sure the majority probably believes that Cody Rhodes is going to win. This is WrestleMania. Why not create the road to WrestleMania from WrestleMania and create an atmosphere where anything can happen, where it's not, a drop in the hat or the nail in the coffin, so to speak, that's exactly what's going to happen. We're talking about Roman Reigns, one of the longest championship reigns, no pun intended, of all time. Of all time. Does it end at WrestleMania? Does it continue? We're talking about two family legacies here, not just the Rhodes family. We're talking about the NOI family. And both families have contributed so much to the world of professional wrestling. WrestleMania has this story, this WrestleMania, and that's in the match. And they were able to pivot from the bloodline story with Sami Zayn. Ellie, you may be onto something here, and don't you back down one bit, because you're onto something, and it's a great conversation. Mick says yes, the greatest WrestleMania of all time. We got a conversation going. Ellie, Rollins versus Logan Paul. Asuka versus Belair. Usos versus Sami Zayn, and could all be 5-star matches. Plus, you have the two biggest historical female draws teaming with the biggest current female draw, Gunther versus Sheamus's Money. Wow. Folks, we have to step outside of ourselves. Everything that we believe to be the best, we have to have an open mind. And I'll be honest, a part of me does not want to admit that this could be the greatest of all time because I have my biases and I have my own opinions when it comes to this stuff. But the match card is ridiculous. I definitely want to see Asuka versus Belair, one-on-one. Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. The sky's the limit because Logan Paul's a natural from the gate. From the gate. And Rollins, in my opinion, is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time because of his ability on the mic, off the mic, in the ring. Hands down. You're onto something. Roman Reigns title, new champion Cody. Ray versus Dom, an emotional story. Edge versus Balor in Hell in a Cell. Yeah. I will say this. I will say that this is the greatest two-night WrestleMania of all time. Hands down. We have to remember that every WrestleMania since its inception has had 5-star storylines on every match. Every match, because they build up to it, right? And that's the essence of wrestling. That's the essence of pro wrestling. That's the reason why we watch it, right? The stories, And not to go off topic here, but, if you have any experience in catching a soap opera, catching 2-3 minutes of it and be hooked, and then you want to watch it the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And we remember our parents and our grandparents watching these things, and we're like, why do they watch these things? Well, why do we watch this wrestling match? It's because the story's involved. We want to know what happens next. We want to know where's the direction going. And we come back because we enjoy a good story. We also enjoy good professional athletes and their abilities and the fact that they put so much on the line physically for all of us. Man, I know I'm rambling. I know. Ellie Underdown, WrestleMania 11 was dreadful. 14 outside of Austin's win was blah. Okay. Perhaps that'll be the topic for Saturday. Is this the greatest WrestleMania of all time? Does this have the potential to be the greatest WrestleMania of all time? Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, another great match. And of course, there's so many great matches. We don't know. We need to look at the lineup. Day 1, day 2. Day 1, day 2. What's the greatest lineup for each night? That's important. That's very important because then that cements, the value of how great the WrestleMania weekend was, right? Because you have to have the best lineup each day. And I'm looking at it from a business perspective here. So perhaps I'm going to write that down. So I have, who is Justin? Who is this guy? Right? And greatest WrestleMania? We're going to come back to you guys with the Wrestling Online report, of course. Yeah. The pre-show, I think Ziggler's gotten the short end of the stick for so many years. Such a great guy, such a great talent. He's one of the guys that'll do anything for the company, and they just, you do this, whatever. Greatest WrestleMania of all time. Ali Morgan versus Piper. Poor Liv. I hope she's not on the pre-show. Maybe she'll interfere or something. Do we see Alexa return? Is that a prediction? Alexa Bliss's return to the dark side. Of course. I don't see why not. I mean, if they fumble this and she doesn't do an appearance, why make her wait so long? It's got to be at WrestleMania. All right, folks. Make sure you check us out on our social channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Pro Wrestling R is back with the next episode. Make sure you check out Pro Wrestling R on Instagram at Pro Wrestling R. And I think that's it. Folks, we'll be back with you guys most likely on Saturday. I'm going to try to do some Instagram lives up until Saturday. We are talking to a wrestling organization about doing some wrestling lives to get them and their brand and their message out there. So make sure you keep it locked. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. I'm going to throw Meow More up there, put her up there, you know what I mean, and go from there. So keep it locked. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys later on the Nice Guy Indie podcast.